Two lovers walk with intention to make token of their intimacy and to speak of their building, and how being alone is suspension, and how purgatory is a creative extension because how once having love must be hell, and how religions always come from human things, and how names are bad things when things are done in them, for them, and because of them, and how judging another's work is an armchair and if fair, impossible, and how the impossible stops no one because there's a fantasy in the virtue of self-confidence and conclusion, and how being sure about another with others as soon as possible is impossible, but will maintain your place with those others, and how at all costs is a relief because it doesn't require critique, and how efficiency is that, maintaining space and serving interests most readily available, and how your idea of people is theft in societies made of identities, and how identities submit to them, and how the pitting of neighbors is exactly easy like drawn carrot and cliche, and how cartoons are for grandmas, and how cartoons are good because I've known grandmas, and how could I fault them for being old, wrong, or always have been wrong, and how different times are true but again impossible, not right, fair, or forgivable, but unavailable, and how times are stupid to consume as content unless you're a product, and how products don't talk, or judge, or think of another's work, or talk, and how conversation doesn't want to have itself but does want to have had it, and how conversation wants ideas to be works, and how in conversation where words are symbols for content, conversationalists would have an easier time if content were instead the words themselves, and conversation symbols of interpretation for individual conversationalists, and how laziness is a lack of intellectual abstraction, and how action is your brain, and how bones need rest, and how resting looks bad, and how shame is fraudulent and reflective of authoritarian conditioning, and how self-worth is a negotiation of debt and insufficiency, and how goodwill can feel original, and how putting oneself in another's shoes is not an opportunity to give advice, and how privilege is not better there, and how the request does not require a follow-up, and how disengagement is the whole of many first steps, and again how there are mirrors, and how mirrors reflect, and how mirrors are everywhere and powered by intentional confrontations with fear, and best you hear the news rather than the look you I fucked it up, rather than the look the other way mentalities.